Thank you for joining me in this, the second part of the 3 lessons or sub-lessons that make up week 3 of your module. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go up there because I have a script, and my script is something that you can pause as you wish in this on-demand lesson, because it's the easiest way for you to make notes if you think about it, right? So, step 1, we want to look at values, we want to look at attitudes, and we want to look at moods and emotions. So, what do you hold dear is your value. How you feel about things is your attitude, and your mood is whether it makes you feel good or bad as you're doing it. So, values, attitudes, emotions, and I want to emphasize now the distinction between terminal values and instrumental values, because a terminal value is, as I've written there, a lifelong goal or objective. It's what you're striving towards. And your instrumental value is what you feel you have to be as you're striving. So one is your destination, and your destination then is the terminal value, and the other is the suitcase that you take with you on that journey. And you might buy a new shirt and throw an old one away as you make your journey across the 60 years of your working life. But the point is that you're carrying a suitcase of values towards your destination. And while that suitcase might gain a shirt or lose a shirt along the way, you have to be headed towards a destination. Now, those terminal values are something which lead towards a formation of norms. A normative behavior in psychology is what we see as idealized, what we want, what we regard as ideal, normal, and those norms are, as I keep on saying, the destination is one where you'll either think of yourself favorably towards the end of your life, or unfavorably. Instrumental values are the suitcase of shirts that you take on your journey. That suitcase of shirts would be honesty, integrity, fairness, your perseverance at work. So if that is a pathway to a destination, then perhaps it's just relevant for me to spend a little bit of time suggesting to you that norms are not going to be the same wherever you are. So you have in your textbook Western and specifically American examples, and those don't translate very well. Some of the most ludicrous things, for example, are the notion of how you should behave in the West, which is in fact completely anathema to African culture. So that making direct contact, for example, and waiting to be invited to sit down in a meeting are the standard examples we see in a Anglo-American context, or what happens in Europe and America and Canada and England and France and Ireland. It's not what happens here. And if you come into contact with me, the deference which culturally you are required to display in order to be more of a person yourself is something which I then recognize as part and parcel of our relationship and our culture, our norms that you and I form as we connect in interaction. So we must add to that the notion of a value system, and we know that the more powerful one's work ethic is, the more successful one is likely to be, and that unfortunately has given rise to a kind of combative value system about striving and working hard to be better than anyone else, and and that has a bit of a downside, and the downside is conveyed over there as being a workaholic, um, workism, as I've written it down for you. Now we come to this business about attitudes. And two crucial attitudes for any manager, which impacts the way they approach their job, is their satisfaction and their commitment to the organization. Job satisfaction is an easy one. You either like what you're doing or not. And it gives rise to favorable relationships. The we talk about this notion of organizational citizenship behavior. Effectively, it means that you're a positive person in the workplace who is likely to provide stimulus and impetus for other people to do their jobs and to do them well. The distinction with organizational citizenship behavior is that your connection to an organization establishes whether you're going above and beyond the call of duty, to put it colloquially. It's something that I believe that you should take a look at. It's easy to do so, and you don't get everything you know just from this set of PowerPoints or from a textbook. So happy searching with that. Okay. Then we get to moods and emotions, and here's the point. If we want managers to be effective, then what they are looking to do is get as much productivity and quality out of their employees that they direct as possible. And the research output tells us that when you are working for someone who is positive and optimistic, you feel better. It's just a better vibe in the workplace. So the objective surely should be for someone who wishes to be an effective manager, you one day maybe, to be positive, to be optimistic, to provide that to create a charming environment which keeps people coming back to work because they really enjoy it. Now, here's the thing. Moods and emotions are about a state of mind, and that state of mind is something which occupies um, basically the front burner attention, like the big plate on the front of the oven, and back burner attention in the background, like the back plates in the stove. Your emotions can be inspired very rapidly. You can become angry quickly. When we talk about road rage, we know that people will go from being quite content to being inflamed very rapidly. And then people will get out of their cars and beat each other up or shoot each other in the more extreme cases. And what we've come to realize from the field of psychology is that they are not controlling their emotions particularly well. So the logic is, and there's quite a bit on this slide, and therefore you are going to pause it, I think. The logic is, as a manager, to practice regulating your emotions better. You don't want a manager who's prone to road rage. You want a manager who is just cool, calm, and collected, because that just makes for a more satisfactory work experience for workers. Now, all of those issues of emotional intelligence and moods and emotions and attitudes and values and terminal values and instrumental values is about the individual. But the individual works for an organization, and that organization has a mood, if you like, of its own. And that day-to-day mood of the organization is is collective normative behavior. It might not be a favorable one, unfortunately. So we do distinguish between organizational cultures which are favorable and organizational cultures which are actually quite toxic. The What we want is to establish an organizational culture where things get done, and where there's likely to be a commitment to productivity and efficiency and effectiveness. So in an organization, there are also terminal values and instrumental values. So the terminal values would be what everyone is trying to achieve in the organization. And the instrumental values are the suitcase of shirts that you take on that journey as you try and reach the destination of we've arrived. For the university, it might be inspiring greatness. And you want everyone in the organization, students, that you, the consumers of what we do, as well as producers, the providers of what we do, me and everyone else who teaches in the classroom alongside me, whether it's an electronic classroom or a physical classroom. That's what we are aiming and aspiring towards. And what we want is managers who are able to sweep us up on that journey, and carry us towards the goal. So what you take away from this is that culture is likely to be shaped by the people who have the decision-making capability and power in the organization. In other words, managers shape culture. And here's the thing, you see, if you've got a weak manager, you are likely to have a weak organization. Worthwhile pausing for thought, not so. Now, I also want to talk to you about the nature of how culture will affect an organization, because we know that back in 2016, FAIL introduced these things to us. Now, just contemplate as we look at planning, leading, organizing, and controlling, recognizing that the manager is coordinating activity. Let's look at those things. An innovative culture compared to a conservative culture means that the planning is going to happen differently. And when you're organizing, similarly, an innovative culture is going to say, let's do what we need to at the time. Whereas a conservative culture is going to say, how do we command and control this organization? Conservative cultures then start to ripple over into other aspects of the organization as well. Conservative organizations are saying, what are we trying to achieve, and have we achieved it or not? Whereas an innovative organization says, the sky is the limit. Let's make this thing happen. Let's switch it up. And in the same way, controlling is impacted. An innovative culture means that there's more initiative. A conservative culture means that you are trying to preserve things as they are, which you would like to think is stable, and everyone knows what they're doing, and there's a place for everything, and everything is in its place. Unfortunately, the environment within which we operate doesn't necessarily allow for that. The environments we operate within are volatile and complex, and the fact that they're so ambiguous, the fact that they're so uncertain, means we need managers to provide the stable influence, if you like, on the organization. But we've been going for 20 minutes with this little session. I think we need to stop it there and come back and finish this section off.